Good morning, Mike Kenyon. How are
Morning,
you?
how are you?
Good. So we're back for a Monday market discussion.
That's right. Here
Yeah,
we are.
yeah. We got same things to talk about in some respects, but we've got some different things to talk about.
It's the same, but it's different.
Exactly, exactly. So I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about the current marketplace, both nationally and locally. We know that interest rates are still at zero, but there's different dynamics that the Fed is taking, and some states are doing some different things. So why don't you tell us in terms of, what you're seeing the market doing, how that impacts us as home buyers or home refinancers or home sellers or whatever.
Sure, sure. So probably going back a few weeks, we started to see us, not just us, but nationally, phase one, phase two, some states are in phase three. And the northern states, just sort of because of it was colder up there,
Yeah.
they're all, sort of cooped up inside, and they were fighting through a little bit more COVID than maybe the southern states were. So the southern states were a little bit quicker to open up and get people out there. And now people are out there, they're mixing around, and, you're getting a little bit more spread, and they're starting to see some spikes. There's that lag that you're getting. And I think because people in the northern states, and I just got back from New York, so I would almost say from what I saw in particular in the Northeast, I think they just sort of have it a little bit more ingrained in them to wear the mask, be socially distant, wash your hands, those types of things. And so they were doing that to get out and just be out of their home and do that type of stuff and be safe. They had to do it more regularly.
Yep.
And they didn't quite have to do that in the South. And so now the South is out, it's warmer, we're all, commingling, but now it's too hot. They got to go back inside. Now they're breathing recycled air. They're doing what the North and the Northeast was doing, weeks and months ago.
Right.
And so now they're seeing those spikes. And so that spread is starting to put a little bit of a damper on the economy as states are having to pull back. They're starting to see that they maybe, I don't want to say jump the gun, but maybe they underestimated. They didn't anticipate this was going to be as strong or as powerful as it is. And so, some are in phase one, some are in phase two, some are in phase three, and some are saying, oh, well, not phase three, we're going to go back to two, we're going to go back to one. Georgia's a perfect example of that, where the governor and the mayor of Atlanta are going back and forth. Keisha Lance Bottoms has said, I don't quite think we're there yet, whereas the governor said, trying to move ahead. Texas, kind of the same thing. They seem to be a little bit more on the same page, but they're pulling back. Arizona, spiking. Florida is, they're having a real difficult time as well, when they were the first to, really try and get out there and get the economy going.
Right.
So I think with that said, you have the economy not really quite knowing exactly what to do. So it's just, pulling back altogether.
Right.
And the way to keep it going, the Fed already has rates at zero, so they can't really do much more there. But what we saw today was that they announced that they were going to increase their mortgage buying, their asset buying from 4.2 trillion, they said in February, and we're now up to 7 trillion. They're going to do it really as long as they need to prop up the economy.
So the sad part is the worse the virus gets, the better the market gets, which is kind of like an interesting dynamic, right? But I don't think they have a choice.
They don't really have a choice. It's interesting, that's always kind of been the moniker, at least on the mortgage side. You want the economy to tank when you're buying a house because they spur the economy by lowering interest rates. Then once you buy your house, all right, I'm fine if the Dow shoots up to 1 million. Like that's kind of what you want. What we're going through now mirrors a little bit of what we had, back in February and March when the virus first got here. Now there's a little bit more knowledge to it. And so there's more questions than there are answers. And so all those questions breed the uncertainty. The uncertainty is in a very negative environment anyway, just really across the board. And so that has, again, brought things back. And again, to get it going, just you
They have
gotta
to do
have
it.
rates at 0 and you gotta prop it up and,
Yeah.
try and get people out there to spend. So.
Yeah. So let's segue into a little bit about your hypothesis around when we feel like we're going to see a little bit of recovery. We don't know when, right? But there's an indicator that you think is, it makes sense too, that might be a good kind of, read for us to know that stuff's starting to turn a little bit.
Right. My theories, they're not those of Union Home Mortgage.
This is the Michael Kenyon theory.
This is the Michael Kenyon theory on the economy. I think we can all agree that once the vaccine gets here, that's going to be the key. So that all said, let's look at, schools are trying to come back. That's a vital service. We got to get the kids in school. How do we do it safely? And there's just debate among debate.
And that goes from elementary, pre-K to like college, because I got a kid going to college and I'm not
people through
excited about that at all.
Yeah, getting their doctorate. How are you going to get a doctorate doing online learning? You probably got to be in the class.
Yep.
So again, vaccine, sure, absolutely. But look at your concerts, look at your sporting events. And those are the big things. Those are entertainment, they're reward items. So what are they doing? Major League Baseball can't get on the same page. They're in training right now, but the closer and closer they get, more and more players continue to opt out. They're just not going to put their families at risk. The NFL keeps pulling back, preseason games. Hockey they just straight up left and went to Canada. They're not even doing anything in the United States. Because it's safer there. They're out of here. So, and then the NBA has their bubble city in Orlando, where they've really tried to just isolate everything and do it down there. Right. And so they're trying to get their businesses back up and running, but there's still no fans. And so I think that's going to be really the indicator. Yeah. Where does that happen? And Major League Baseball, I thought they had a really good opportunity when you look at some of the Korean baseball leagues and the Chinese baseball leagues, where they were able to get things up and running, but then they had, some setbacks there as well. So until a vaccine is here, that I think is going to be the indicator. Yeah. Where are we with sports? Where are we with concerts? And how far along can we get with that? So my theory.
That makes sense. I mean, it makes perfect sense. So we may have to continue this next, we're every 2 weeks now, but I wanted to at least start with we still have a challenge, right? We have two dynamics going on in addition to the ones we talked about earlier. We have a shortage of inventory, so it's challenging for people to find homes, but we also have, I think, a new desire to move out and away from crowded spaces. So if you're in a condo in DC, you may not want to live there anymore just because you're anticipating this is not going to go away. Who knows, right? We just don't know if it's COVID, something else may come up, who knows. But so I think there's this challenge to say, like, what's going to get people to want to sell, or, what's going to get people to want to buy in concentrated areas. But more importantly, there really isn't a lot of inventory. So it's challenging for buyers to find a place even still. So any thoughts on that at all?
Yeah. Again, I think we'll say that the vaccine that's our all clear. Yeah. Yeah. And then the hardest thing to predict is human behavior. So what is, again, you have a condo building, someone might have been there for a while. They've got a big pile of money that they've saved. It doesn't even have to be a big pile of money, but they've been there. They don't want to go out. They can just open a window and not breathe the recycle air that's going through the building. You might have someone who's been there and says, "The heck with this, I'm out. I'm moving out to the suburbs," or even further. And so where does the human behavior fall? Because now you're getting down to each individual person's circumstances. There's, previously in years past, it was you had your spring market. People are getting ready to move because they want to be in certain school districts by certain times, and all these, they get their tax refund, and then now they're ready to buy. Like all these different things that come and go in their certain waves. Well, again, virus just throws
Turns everything
huge monkey
upside down.
wrench. Yeah, and it's just all off kilter. And
Yeah.
so now when you get into each individual person's circumstances, it's just a lot harder to predict. Someone might have a job offer to go somewhere else. Maybe it is North Dakota, out in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm.
Well, they still got to sell their condo in DC. Who wants to buy it if they think that if I start breathing that recycled air that I might get infected?
Right.
And you get into we have a newborn.
Right.
Like, if I bring my newborn into the condo, is my newborn at risk?
Right.
And so you're just sort of you're made to think about these things that were always there, but you never really gave them as much thought as you're really required to give them now.
Right.
And so that, I think, is one thing. Like, how do you, in terms of the inventory problem, I don't think there's really a great answer for it, because each person is in a particular spot. So again,
Right.
once that vaccine gets here, then yeah, I think it all just opens up, hopefully. Is someone desperate? Are they not? Is someone scared? Are they not? I've seen people where if they do have their money, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
Get me out of here. And
Yeah.
they're actually as a buyer, if you have your ducks in a row, you can go out there and probably get a good deal.
Yeah.
But who are you up against?
Right.
Are you up against those same people? Is there less inventory in the one particular area you're looking at? Because what's going on in Arlington County might be very different than what's going on in Western Prince William County or something like that. And so even just here in the DC metro area, it's so different, just from one little municipality to the next.
Agreed.
Agreed. You're seeing home equity loan applications, those are going up because people are spending more time at home. So they're going to, make their outdoor spaces a lot more attractive. They're going to, pools and hardscapes and things like that, just to spend more time outside and get out, do that type of stuff. So, there's activity that's out there. It's different. It's the same, but it's different. And
it's different. Yeah.
So who knows? But that's what I've seen. Yeah. So I think you're going to see rates stay low to keep things moving forward as best they can. Once that vaccine kind of comes through, we'll see what sports do. Those will be, just sort of little notches and steps forward, and we'll see where we get, and you'll probably see reactions there. It's that kind of invisible hand theory from Adam Smith and economics going way, way back to 1700s, where each person's individual interests, they're going to act in the way that they see as best suited for them.
Right.
And then what are the reactions from all the different people that are affected by that? And we just use that, replace people with market. And so you have different markets affected differently. They're going to do what they feel is in their best interest, but they're all going to play off one another. And so,
well,
remains to be seen. Interesting times.
Yes, and regardless, if anybody watching has questions about whether it's buying, selling, refinancing, please reach out to us. We can at least brainstorm strategies, and have options that maybe you didn't consider before. So we're here if you guys want to chat with us, even if it's just to plan a couple years down the road, right?
Absolutely. And like I say, this is where, I know you've been doing this for a while too. I've been doing this for 13 years, and I've never seen anything like this.
No.
And what is normal, a 15 or 20 minute pre-qualification conversation now might be 30 or 40 minutes, because we really want to take a deeper dive into what it is that the individual is trying to do. Yeah. Because now Bob Smith is very different than Jane Johnson. Yeah. It's one thing to have, hey, these are the handful of items I'm juggling. We're now looking at it as, okay, how does this affect that? And then so on and so forth. It's before it might be items A, B, and C. You're getting into X, Y, and Z. Yes, so, absolutely. And that's what we're trying to do and represent our clients.
Yep, and it's super important. So we will revisit where we are more of the same probably in 2 weeks, but hopefully, you know, we'll see some movement somewhere on inventory or sports or whatever, but
Right,
looking
yeah.
forward to chatting.
More of the same, but different.
Yeah, we'll be checking in again in a couple weeks.
Sounds good. Looking forward to
Awesome.
it.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the time.